Hey y'all, I'm Marla.
I'm Marshall.
And I'm Coach Tommy Tuberville, and I'm running for U.S. Senate.
Did you ever think in a million years we would be sitting on this red couch with Tommy Tuberville?
What if it's a big
Looks
giant
orange to me.
Well, I'm colorblind, so it could be orange. So that's your favorite color, right? So, Coach, how are you going? Let's just talk about the elephant in the room.
Okay.
How are you going to win over Alabama fans?
Well, on the humorous side, I tell people if it wasn't for me, they wouldn't have Nick Saban. I got the rest of them fired.
Right.
But on the real note is this is not a game.
Right.
This is about life. Mm-hmm. And we have problems. And I wouldn't be running if we had a Christian conservative Republican in this seat in the Senate. Mm-hmm. We have a Democrat. And so I feel like that this is kind of my calling. I prayed about it. I thought about it. Me and my wife discussed it for the last year, and she said, I don't want to hear you complain if you're not going to run. And right. So I just feel like our country's in a state of kind of floating back and forth, and we've got a great country, and we've got a lot of good things going, but we've got a lot of things coming down the train track that are not good. Right. And we need to get the country back on track. And I'm a Trump supporter, and we've got to get him reelected for another 4 years. And I want to help him in the Senate. Right now, he doesn't have a lot of people supporting him, right. Republican and Democrat. So I want him to be successful. Everybody, he's not the most presidential guy we've ever had. There's a lot of things I'd like to say. Hey, Mr. President, what'd you say that for?
You think he needs to lay off Twitter?
Yeah. Well, you just have to think about his situation. He's got a huge ego,
right?
And he's a guy he's been his own boss forever,
right?
And he's had the national media just coming at him every day, and he pretty much feels like this is the only way he can get his voice out, so it's not filtered several times. So I really don't mind it. There's a few things I'd rather not say, but it is what it is. But he's got a lot of beliefs like the people here in Alabama believe. He believes in prayer and Christianity and things like that. So he needs help, and he doesn't get to stay up there but 4 more years after this term. And if we can get him for 4 more years, I think there's a lot of things that he can do in terms of judges and get our education back on track. Obviously, he's dropped our taxes. We've got problems all over the world. I can't imagine, all the problems he has to face every day when he gets up.
He hardly sleeps.
Well, the world's burning. If you think about it, London on fire every week. Paris, you've got Venezuela, you got Africa. That's just a total mess. I've had the opportunity of being a coach, of traveling all over the world, and after about 2 or 3 days going to some of these countries, I can't wait to get home.
Right.
Because no matter how bad it is here, we live in a much better place than anywhere else I've ever been.
Well, what experiences do you think you've had in life that will help you prepare to be a U.S. Senator?
Well, I've dealt with young kids all my life, kids now that are grown up and some that are not grown up. And the thing about being a coach is you're responsible for basically a $50 to $100 million budget. Mm-hmm. You have to hire probably around 100 people that work on your staff. And then you've got to do it all in a way to win games. Right. I mean, you've got to win to be successful and keep your job. And so the thing I've learned over the years is leadership. But the big deal that we need in this country is being able to work with other people. And that's what you do in the Senate. I mean, you work with other people. They don't believe sometimes like you believe, but you work with them. They got to be able to trust you. And then you get that trust going over to making a point and maybe getting something done for the state of Alabama or for the country. And so I'm a people person. I love people. I love this country. I love this state. And so you put all that together with the things I've learned about how to handle tough situations. I've dealt with life and death in my business, and it's something that's really trained me to the point where I feel I can handle a job. Now, one person's not going to make a difference, but we get enough people in Washington, D.C. that's not a politician, and I don't ever want to be called a politician. I want to be called a normal person that's just going up to try to help people, and I'm not going up there forever. I'm really tired of career politicians. I want to go up and be a part of something that I think and I can help make better in just a small way, or maybe a big way, just depending on how things happen. And then put my imprint on it. And I didn't serve in the military. My dad died in active duty at age 53. He was a career military guy. And when I got out at age 18, I had a draft number, but the draft stopped. And so I didn't go to the military. I got into coaching. Now after I've been out, a couple of years after coaching 40 years and being around a lot of great people, I just felt like it was time to give back.
Right.
I don't need the money. I'm not going to take a salary. I'm going to do it for the right reasons. I just want to work with people from this state all the way to Washington and help President Trump make this country better.
I had a question that just come to my mind when you announced your candidacy. Like when you was coaching, call back 10 years or what? I mean, you coached all up to 16, I think, but at Cincinnati or something?
Yeah, I've been out 2 years. Yeah.
Like when you was coaching, did you keep up? Or was you pretty well zoned in? Because I think of somebody like Nick Saban. Like I can't think Nick Saban in my mind. He's probably not like turning on Fox News after the ball game. You know what? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Were you like in tune in, or did you, pretty much football was all? I mean, because I know coaches that come from two different worlds. Like I know a friend of mine, and he coaches football, and he still kind of keeps up. I know another guy. Football, that's it. I mean, he couldn't tell you what the weather was.
No, I've always followed, the world events and, what's happening in our country because, again, I'm in the business of sales when I'm coaching. You're selling kids from urban areas, big cities, small towns, communities, rich, poor, middle class. And so you really had to know what was going on. I mean, because, that's what it's all about. And so you have to sell yourself and you have to be up on everything that's going on, know a lot about, things like in this community. You got to know who you're dealing with, the type of people, the schools. I just went by the police department here in town. I'm a huge supporter of our police and a huge supporter of our military, first responders, firemen. I don't think they get enough help, but you got to know all that. You got to know where they're coming from. In the last 8 years before Donald Trump, our military and our policemen and women, they were under attack, by people in Washington. And if we don't have security in this country, we're not a country. And it's like the border. I'm for immigration. I let them in, but we got to know who's in here.
Right.
Because there's a lot of people in this country not here for the right reasons.
Now, wait a minute. You might want to clarify that you are for the wall, right?
I'm for the wall.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. We're for the wall, and we need the wall. I've been down there 12 times, at least 12. I coached in Texas, and I've got buddies that work down there, and I had one tell me about 8 years ago. He said, there's more Middle Easterners coming across than there are people from South America or Mexico, and they're not coming to leave. And again, I'm for everybody. I'm for every religion. Whatever you want to believe in, any of that stuff. But if you're here, you go by our Constitution and our laws. I mean, if we do that, then we've still got a country. If we started letting people come in just pretty much doing what they want to in terms of laws and not obeying the things that we love and desire, then we're not going to be a country anymore.
All right.
Well, so Marshall hit you with that hard subject. One more hard subject.
Okay.
What is your view on the abortion bill with the no amendments?
I'm pro-life, 100%, and I've been that way forever. It's just one of those things that I'm a Christian, and you read in the Bible, some verses where upon conception, there's life,
right.
And so. There can't be any variables to that. I mean, everybody wants exceptions here and exceptions there. And we've had 4 or 5 wars in this country since what was it, 1776 Revolutionary War. We've lost 1.5 million people in wars, and Vietnam, the World War II, World War I, all that. And we've lost 1.5 million men and women. And that's a lot of people. Since Roe versus Wade, we've killed 60 million babies. Now, we got to step back and think about that. You just think about what that's 60 million, and it just brings tears to the eyes thinking about that. And so, I'm a Christian. I believe in that. I believe that the sanctity of life, and not going to change.
Right. Well, now we're going to get into something fun. This is what makes us us.
We go from abortion to making
Yes,
them.
yes. Okay, we're gonna do something fun. When did you graduate high school?
1972.
1972. You're cruising down the road. What are you driving and what are you listening to?
I had a Ford Mustang.
Ooh.
I would imagine
that's
you
Yeah,
might. Yes.
Ford Mustang. It wasn't a convertible. I actually snuck
Was it a
around.
302 or a 351? I mean,
It was
it
302. No, it's
Oh, man.
302.
Impressed.
It was blue's my favorite color, and it was a kind of a lighter. It was a dark lighter
Was it
blue.
4-speed?
No, it's automatic.
Ah.
You know, but I can drive a 4 or 5 speed. You know, 'cause I drove tractors all my
Right.
life. But you know, my kids right now, if I were to throw them out in the truck with
Oh yeah, these
4
kids
speed,
nowadays they can't.
they couldn't. But I was a big Elvis fan, Merle Haggard fan. I love country western music. And you know, I had the opportunity to meet Elvis years ago. I think I was
Wow, you met Elvis?
9th grade. Yeah.
How did you meet Elvis?
He was coming out of his gate. Matter of fact, I had family that lived in Memphis, and we're visiting, and they said, "Well, Elvis got married, and he's at Graceland. Let's go over and look at his car and all that." So you know, from the street, you couldn't get in.
Right.
And so I'm standing out there, and the guard walks up and he says, "Hey," he says, "Everybody back up! It's your lucky day. Elvis is coming out." And
wow.
you remember Priscilla she used to have that long black hair.
Oh, yes.
But it was a white Tornado with a black vinyl top. You know, you remember things like this. And they come out, and he stopped, and he saw there's about 15 of us, and so he didn't get out. Roses went down. "Hey, how are y'all? You know, glad you're here," and all this, and you know, he's smiling ear to ear, and in the passenger seat, Priscilla's like this. You know, she's going, "Elvis, can we get out of here?" You know, she didn't quite. You know, Elvis was more of a politician, I would say.
So he was real nice.
Yeah, real nice, and nobody with him. He pulls out on the street, takes off down the road. He didn't have an entourage with him. And again, this was probably around 1969, somewhere like
That's
that.
awesome.
You know, I had to go back and look at that because they had been
Well, I
married.
thought you was famous because you was a coach, but man, you met Elvis. I mean, that.
I've had a chance to meet 4 or 5 presidents, I guess. Been to the White House several times because of winning national championships at like University of Miami.
You didn't meet Reagan, did you?
Met Reagan.
You met Reagan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna go over.
Well, his favorite statement was, "People go to government for solutions when government is the problem."
Right.
I mean, that's one of his favorite sayings, and I really like President Reagan. Just how he handled himself, good old country guy. You know, rode horses, and you know.
Oh yeah, he's my favorite.
He didn't read from a teleprompter. He kind of spoke from the heart, and you know that's what made him a true American. But you know, while he was an actor, he was very shunned by the people in Hollywood because he was a true conservative when most of them out there aren't.
Right.
And he actually ran the kind of the Republican group in Hollywood at one time. That's before he even got to be governor. And so pretty neat. And I met George H.W. and then Bill Clinton. And I met him several times. And then I met George W. Bush, sent myself and 6 or 7 other college coaches to Iraq right in the middle of the war, and that was interesting. But you know, just seeing, it was when you go there, and of course I coach 18, 19, 20-year-olds, and I go over there, who, by the way, these 18, 19, 20-year-olds, they're spoiled, they're rock stars on campus. They complain about running wind sprints or lifting weights, getting up at 5 or 6 in the morning. But I go over there and hear these young men and women, eyes are big, war's going on, and we're in Camp Victory, which was in Baghdad, and I'm looking at them going, I wish I could bring my entire team here, because we'd go talk to men and women. They're getting ready to get in their MRAPs. These are armored cars that are built in Anniston, and they're getting in those things going out of control, and they don't know whether they're coming back or not. And I would like to take my players over going, you complain about the food, you know, at Sewell Hall, and these people are putting their lives on the line. It was a great experience, and it
very
just,
eye-opening.
and I mean, and some of them weren't coming back daily. I mean, it was just, that was right in the middle of when people were getting in the, you know, the IEDs were blowing up and all those things. It's an eye-opening experience.
Put your priorities in line.
Right.
Marshall.
All right, well, that's the
Question of
closer.
This is the
it.
closer, and
Here
then
we
you
go.
can say anything you want to afterwards. But this is
All right. if your wife calls you between the hours of 5 to 7 p.m. at night, she says, "Hey Tommy," or whatever she calls you, baby, I don't know what
She's called me. She's called me a lot of things.
She says, "I got this ready, your food." Does she say supper or dinner?
We're country folks. She says supper.
Oh, man.
What about that? What about
Well, we
that?
have a little poll, and I'm losing because I
Always
always
in the
say
minority.
dinner.
Yeah.
I always say dinner. So.
And usually wives do. They're more, but she's a country girl in the farmland of Indiana,
Right.
and
she
and I was surprised, when she first said that, but we and I'd always called it that.
Well,
And if I wasn't
I would
home
say
at
to
5
cater to your constituency,
Yeah.
I'd stick supper, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, use this time, Coach, and just tell us a little bit about what you want us to do, what you want us to know about you. And before we get off, like and share this video to get extra chances to see Travis Tritt on Sunday night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you seen him?
I have not.
Yeah.
You probably got to meet him, haven't you?
I don't think I've met Travis Tritt, but I love his music.
I love his music
And,
too.
and back in the late 80s and 90s, when Here's a Quarter,
Oh yeah.
all those songs were awesome. And matter of fact, I think I did sing, and it was at Fort Payne. It was June Jam.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I'll never forget, my wife and I were dating. It was around 90. We had just met at the Sugar Bowl in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I was at University of Miami. We were playing Alabama in the Sugar Bowl in 1989. And but we didn't start dating for about a year and a half after that. And I met her for a few minutes, and I gave her my card, and she called me about 6 months later. That's how our relationship started.
Wow.
She lived in Athens, Georgia, but then we dated a couple of years after we got together. But
Was she on Miami or Alabama side?
she had no clue about football. She was a basketball fan, Indiana.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Indiana.
okay.
Right.
She was a Bobby Knight fan.
Oh,
And
okay.
what's ironic is I take a job after I leave Auburn. We moved to Texas Tech, and right down the street from us in Texas Tech, Bobby Knight was a coach.
Wow.
And his wife and my wife got to be big workout buddies. And Bobby's still living out there now. He's still living. He's not in very good health, but he's a good guy. So she got to kind of meet her
That is
hero.
awesome.
But you talk about football, she didn't know a lot about it. But I think that's the reason we kind of jailed, because I'd go home and she didn't ask me about the right tackle or
Right.
what you call that play for. I left that to my mom. My mom was
Right.
the biggest football fan in the world, and I'd come in at night. She'd look at, what'd you do that for? One of those.
Right.
But no, I've been married now almost 28 years, so
That's great.
I forgot, this year, I will tell you this, and I haven't told many people this, is I decided and we announced on a Saturday that I was running for Senate.
Right.
And of course, all heck breaks loose, media interviews, and we're going, we're having to do certain stuff.
Right.
And Tuesday was my anniversary. I completely,
Oh, no.
yeah.
That didn't go
Yeah,
so
and
well.
she didn't say anything for 2 days, and
She
finally
waited.
she goes, our anniversary was 2 days ago, and of course then you finally feel about this tall. So, but we have a good relationship, and she knew, because she, the whole deal. Because I've been in coaching all my life, and my mind's been other places most of the time. But you don't
So you-
forget birthdays or anniversaries. You don't do it.
Or
So
Mother's Day or
I
anything.
I won't forget that again.
I done the Mother's Day, I forgot it. So
Yeah.
So
I've
you
been
had
here
to
about
make-
2 years.
Yeah. So you did very well this year. So,
I did.
give us your closing statements. What you want us to know about Coach Tuberville.
Well, I'm not a politician. I don't want to be. I've had jobs before. I've dealt with people in the public. I know how people look at this country and how much they love this country. Fortunate, I've been able to put enough money in the bank where I don't need a job.
Right.
But I do want to. I've decided in the last year that, hey, I want to do public service. I want to go to Washington, D.C. and represent the people of Alabama and represent them to how they want to be represented, not how a party wants to be represented. And I want to take Christian values, try to get that back in our public schools, when we took prayer out of the schools back in the 1960s, we've absolutely lost everything. About the same time, Roe versus Wade came in, and we continue to lose our values. So I don't know how much one person can do, but I can make a lot of noise.
Right.
And I want to go to Washington and represent the people of this state and this country. And I want to be a huge supporter of our Constitution, our military, and our first responders, policemen and women, because if we forget that, then we're not a country anymore. And again, President Trump's trying like heck at the border. They're fighting tooth and nail, but he's going to win out in the long run. But we just got to get reality back. We got to get some common sense back in this country, and I want to be a part of that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here at Southern Torch.
Thank you very much.